Greetings, my YouTube community. This is Captain Phoenix, coming to you again with another chapter of Origin of Shadows. Chapter 6. I also want to give a shout out to my friend on Twitter, Scorpion, who allowed me to use his OC character to put in this chapter. Dude, I hope you like it. I tried my best. So, yeah. Let's kind of get this started. The next few days, me and Inferno searched and searched till we finally found Red Eye's new location. And then we spent our time planning our next attack at our headquarters. As I looked over at her, she was studying some kind of map along with a book of forbidden magic or something. I was not really quite sure. I wasn't really questioning it, but I looked over at her and asked, "Is today the day we finally kill him?" I guess we will find out. She looks over at me and says, "We'll see." Then I decide to look back over at her and say, "What are we waiting for then?" And she looks back at me and said, "I don't know. What are we waiting for?" Just then, afterwards, we both took off to the skies. When we faced the forest, or got to the edge of the forest, we landed. So the assassin drones would have less of a chance of finding us. Just then, there was a ruffling in the bushes behind us. We thought it was an enemy, so we quickly turned around in attack mode. But seeing that they wasn't trying to attack us made me think that they're on our side. Just then he approached us. He introduced himself as Scorpion. Then I looked at his outfit. It was a pretty nice ensemble. Realizing that he's a professional ninja and a warrior-based assassin, we decided to let him accompany us as we show him the location of Red Eye's new castle. As we all started heading towards the location, me and Inferno flying as he hopped across the trees like some kind of professional off one of those Japanese ninja movies. He looked pretty accurate on his feet, pretty precise. And Inferno looks up at me and says, "Why can't we do that?" I looked back at her and said we could, but doing that takes a lot of skill and timing. That and all it takes is one miscalculation of your footing to mess up. It's really all it takes. And she looks back at me and says, "But it's so fun." Then I looked back at her and said, "Baby, what we're about to get into is going to be the most fun we had in a long time." As we approached the castle, we then got stormed by a boatload of army of assassin drones and other types of robots and bullcrap. After seeing how many of them there was we all broke, seeming like we all had our own certain type of strategy on how we were going to take them out. Scorpion was the first to act, as he hellfired two of them while spearing a third one while kicking two more across the face. Just then Inferno looks at me and nods, and then whispers something in my ear, and then I actually catch on as we shoot up beneath the trees, holding each other, as we flame up, spiraling faster and faster, as we make what appears to look like a flaming typhoon, as we break, using our magic to discharge it in a 360 wall of fire that rolls through the entire valley, killing and or destroying everything in its path. As as the charge rolled out, we quickly teleported back to Scorpion's location, putting a shield over all three of us as the blast passed over us, rolling straight past us down the valley, destroying everything. After the blast exceeded, we looked all over the place as we just seen nothing but charred grass, trees, and debris of metal and what was left of all the drones. Afterwards, we looked around to make sure there was no more of them at the moment as we proceeded to break into the castle. I blasted the door off the hinges as we all barged in to see even more assassin drones along with Red Eyes standing right in the middle of the walkway waiting for us. Red Eye just stares at us with an evil stare and an angry look, saying, "You ain't gonna win that easily this time. I brought my entire army and increased my power tenfold." Then I look around, realizing that where'd Scorpion go? And then I realized he might have his own dang plan, and he might have already hid somewhere in the castle, while Red Eye was too busy paying attention to us. Just then all the assassin drones started firing at us at once. We quickly teleported straight up in the air and sent an entire flame charge down on all of them. It killed 50% of them, but the other 50% dodged and were still blasting at us. And Scorpion, I found his location awful fast as he blasted a couple hellfire shots at a couple drones. Yeah, I realized he's in position. He's planning something. And then I just look at him and grin. As I look back at Inferno and nod. She nods back. As we both just break, wrapping all the way around Red Eye, taking out all his drones before we tend to him. Then Inferno looks at me and says, "Why don't we just use the invisibility spell this time?" And I look back at her and say, "Where's the fun in that?" As we both take turns blasting shots at Red Eye at no avail because he keeps teleporting and bringing up forward shields to block our shots, not even knowing that Scorpion is still in the room. As Scorpion teleported straight behind him, thrusting a spear straight into the back of his neck. The front end of it flew out his mouth as blood oozed out. As he retracted the spear, Red Eye fell to the ground. Me and Inferno quickly zipped down and blasted off his wings. And said, "Yeah, payback sucks, don't it? It's what you get for being a heartless monster." On the way back to the headquarters, I looked over to Scorpion and said, "We'll try and keep in touch just in case any other threats make their way into the valley." He just looks at me and nods. See, and I'll try my best to actually do better at keeping in touch, 'cause yeah. Just then Inferno cuts me off, saying, "Thanks, Scorpion. Thanks for helping us take him down. Red Eye's a nasty beast. Killed off all our families and loved ones. I'm just glad he's finally dead, so we can have peace." Scorpion just looked at her and nodded. As we made it back to headquarters, we landed and he hopped down from the trees, front flipping before he landed on the ground firm on his feet. Or should I say his hooves. See, afterwards, Inferno just looks at me and says, "Does that mean we can finally have a child?" My eyes just went wide at the mere mention of that. As my jaw dropped, thinking, she swished her tail seductively at me as she looked at me in an awkward way. And that was chapter 6, people. Tune in next time for when I decide to make another chapter of God knows what. So, yeah. So I want to inform, like, subscribe, comment. I'd really like it if you would subscribe and like, so I can actually have a reason to make more fiction. Phoenix out.